London is facing one of the biggest transformations in its history. 1 million square metres of new office space needed by 2040, a retrofit first push to tackle ageing building stock, and growing pressure to balance housing affordability with commercial vibrancy. I'm Belinda Coates and The Connector starts now. Welcome to the program. Joining us today is Tom Sleigh, Chairman, Planning and Transportation Committee for the City of London Corporation. He's here to discuss this in more detail and what it means for investors and developers. Tom, it's so great to have you on the show. Tom, just last week, we caught up just last week, actually the week before last, at the London Investment Summit and the London Real Estate Forum. And it was an absolutely incredible conference, and well done to the City of London Corporation, NLA and Opportunity London, and the whole team that put it together. It was exceptional. I'm so glad that I was able to be there. What do you think were the standout messages or themes that the investors and city leaders could take away from that conference?
Well, hi Belinda, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it was a fantastic conference. We all know that there are quite turbulent headwinds internationally, macroeconomic, political, but it's very clear, and we all saw at the conference, there is a deep swell of investor confidence in London in particular, despite all those headwinds. Let me give you some examples. In June this year, we had 11 million people come into the square mile in the City of London. And that was the first month to get to 11 million, which was actually quicker than in 2023. And we're starting to see the numbers of people come back in to visit, to work, that we saw pre-pandemic levels, which surprises some people because, you know, the reports of the death of the office have actually been much exaggerated. We have an incredibly strong pipeline. Indeed, we have one building, 22 Bishopsgate. It's the largest office block in Western Europe, which is now completely fully let. And so we're seeing this right across the square mile. Our top quality office, we call it Grade A, has, I think, a 1.5%, 2% vacancy rate, far lower than New York. It's cheaper as well than New York, cheaper than Hong Kong, cheaper than Japan. It's a really great place for people to come and invest in real estate and to come and bring their businesses.
It definitely is, and I certainly feel the energy whenever I come to London, and we love how you treat Australians and you really roll out the red carpet for us, and it's been wonderful just to see the support. But it's sort of, it's a sore point for us. I'm Melbourne based, so it's particularly a sore point, the working in the office and people getting back to the city, and your low vacancy rates are incredible. And what can we learn from London, in Melbourne and Sydney and Brisbane to get people back into the city and create that energy and buzz that you've been able to create in the square mile?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think there's two parts to the answer. The first is we have a very strong, what's called a local plan. So it's a kind of planning master plan for the square mile. It carries a certain kind of weight in planning terminology. And that's driven by really strong researched data. And that says that we need 1.2 million square meters minimum new offices by 2040. It identifies the kind of areas where we think those offices can be built. It identifies where we think they can be built big, because London is kind of penned in by some complicated sight lines. And so we're trying to create a planning system that is enabling. And that might sound obvious, but actually...
I love that, enabling. An enabling planning system. It's music to my ears. We love that.
Yeah. Well, you see, in other parts of the world, the planning system is often a block. And we don't see it that way. We actually want people to come. We want people to bring their businesses. We want people to build. So we try and make it as easy as possible. Now, of course, it intersects with politics. So my committee are elected members, so you can't guarantee a result. But what we do say is we'll give you predictability. So you know what you're going to get when you come with a big, complicated planning application to the city, which is a good service. We'll reply to your emails. We'll make it very clear what we think is policy compliant, and we'll do our best to make sure you get a good result. And the second part is we have a new strategy in the square mile called Destination City. Now this, I suppose, is a growth strategy. How do we get people of every type to come back into the square mile? So of course that's office workers. So this is the kind of point about return to work, but also tourists and providing more for residents. How do we activate the ground floor? How do we make sure we have a really interesting, rich amenity mix so people want to come to the square mile? Because it is a business district. And traditionally, I think people have seen business districts, and this will include Melbourne as well, and the centre of Sydney. Traditionally, I think they've seen them as a place you go Monday to Friday, working days. We want to create a place where it's 7 days a week and in the evenings as well. Create a real buzz and make it an exciting place. So Destination City for us is an incredibly important policy that really is now starting to underpin all of our thinking.
It definitely works. And I think sometimes in Australia we hear people talk about the commute. It's a long commute and, you know, they choose to work from home due to the commute. But you've been able to topple that. I mean, the commute in London is one of the toughest, really, isn't it? But people want to be in the city. The energy's there. You're really making the magic there. You've got 1.2 million square metres of office space needed by 2040. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah,
How is that going to be delivered? How are you going to do that? Retrofit? There won't be much new build, will there?
Well, there will be new build. I mean, just so you know where the number comes from. So there's kind of national modelling done on growth. And obviously in the UK, I'm sure it's the same in Australia, growth is hugely important to us and to our economy. And the vast majority of London, so this is Greater London's office space, will need to be built in the square mile. And it actually, as it happens in the square mile, there's only a small area where you can go big, which is in the east of the city, and we've defined that as well. So we're trying to have this kind of plan-led system to deliver that 1.2. It may be more, by the way, by 2040, but at the moment it's 1.2 million. Yeah, so retrofit is really important, particularly for what we call B-grade stocks. This is slightly lesser quality stock because not everyone wants or can afford the absolute premium real estate. And we are approving new real estate. And so just so you know, was it yesterday, this week, we approved a 31-storey skyscraper, a beautiful building, and that will create something like 3,000 desks and jobs for the lucky companies that get to be in.
I love that. And a quick question on that, because I love what London does to push the S in the ESG. So what are they doing to get their 31 stories? Is there a viewing deck? Is there a special cafe? Is there a special garden?
We have a very clear policy on this, which is if you build a building or retrofit a building and it has more than 10,000 square meters of space, you need to put some form of cultural use in it. And cultural, I think we're drawing the term cultural quite broadly. You mentioned viewing galleries and sky gardens. We have quite a few of them now, and they are incredibly popular.
They are.
22 Bishopsgate has got a viewing gallery. 1 million people have already been in to see that, and I was there when the millionth person came in. So that's one thing we do. Think of it a little bit like a kind of civic contract. So you want to build big, you have to give something back. And we're trying to make it easy for them to give something back. We see schemes with theatres, we see schemes with kind of community centres, with museums. These are all part of our attempt to say, come and build, but there's something else you've got to do for the people in the square mile as well.
Oh, I absolutely love that, and it's definitely something that I like to tell the stories back in Australia when I come back home. But what are some of the other lessons that we can learn from London's adaptive reuse of office towers?
So I think we are trying to make it easy for developers to buy up and retrofit the kind of that B grade, the lesser quality stock. So we've got a world-leading what's called a supplementary planning document. It's a particular policy document that makes it easy for them. The same thing for heritage buildings. We have a toolkit to make it easier for you to come through that process to quickly retrofit. And we even expedite it through the planning process. And the results are really clear. So in the cities, just in the heart of London, which is the purview I have, half of all of London's retrofits now happen in the city. And we have about half retrofit and half new build. So that gives you a sense of how, if you get the policies right, you can get this stuff happening.
And anything we can learn around conversion, so conversion to hotels or conversion to residential? Has anything gone wrong?
Well, nothing's gone wrong in the city. If anything, the only thing I would say is we can't build it quick enough. And so we know we're short of some hotel rooms. So we have several schemes now in the pipeline that have been approved that will be hotels. Quite a few of them are retrofit. So we are making it easy for people to retrofit to hotels to deliver the beds that we need. We in the city, as we're a business district, tend not to put new residential in, although the City of London Corporation as a local authority manages housing in other parts of London. We see the benefits of keeping the city as a predominantly commercial kind of real estate environment.
So thanks, Tom. Back to the London Investment Summit and the Real Estate Forum. The theme was partnerships, which I absolutely loved. How important is it for the City of London Corporation to have partnerships with the global investors?
Yeah, I mean, it's vital. London is blessed. London is in this amazing time zone where if you're in a financial services company, it touches different time zones. It's great for trading. We have English language, we have English common law, so it has all the fundamentals. We recently, this year, launched the City Business Investment Unit, which is all about attracting, retaining, and growing investors. So I and my colleagues have a constant dialogue with investors to make sure they understand those fundamentals and they understand our processes so we can encourage them to come and build. But you're right. I mean, ultimately, there are these great swathes of international capital behind buildings, and we're making the pitch that London should be a place where you come and invest.
I think that what London does to look after everyone from architects, consultants, project managers, developers, investors is absolutely incredible, and the world should be watching and learning from London. I think that my time at the conference the other week was exceptional. It was an excellent event. Any last thoughts on why London's such a great place to invest and also to work?
Yeah, London is, I mean, I said London has these fundamentals. London has always been a safe haven for investors. I mean, London real estate, is always a strong return. So that's one thing. But I would like to say that I think through Destination City, through us thinking really hard about partnership with developers and investors on how we activate and make more exciting the kind of the experience of being in the square mile, that we're going to continue to attract that investment. It's worth saying. If you walk around the city and just in the heart of London, you have one of Europe's largest performing arts centres. You've got a conservatoire. You've got an incredible mix of museums. The new London Museum is opening soon. You have these sky gardens. You have beautiful green spaces alongside quite high density, big office spaces. And we're trying to provide all those amenities to attract talent. And if you attract the talent, you attract the investment.
Tom, it's been so delightful to have you on the show this morning, and I look forward to seeing you again in London soon.
Thank you. Very nice to see you again, Belinda.
Thanks for watching. This program has been brought to you by Harper B. This is Ticker. We'll be right back.